this is L Thick Madame. I am back. And guess what else is back? American Soul has returned. Now, a lot of y'all didn't seem to be up on that when I did the reviews on it, recaps, whatever you want to call it, last season, but I got my entire life. I loved the show. I still love the show. I found out on accident that it was even coming back because I wondered about it. I didn't hear any rumblings. When I was looking up stuff about it, like, I felt like there wasn't a definite answer about as to whether or not it's gonna come back. But it's back, it's here, and I'm happy. So yeah, the way I found out is very weird. I watch a podcast that I'm a part of, meaning I'm an 85%er, which means I watch the 85 South Show podcast. And it has DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Chico Bean. Oh, it's fine as I don't know what to me. I don't know what it is. Chico Bean is just fine. And his accent just makes it just even worse. I'm here for it. But anyway, everybody be living for Carlos Miller. And I mean, I ain't got no problem with him. And he from Mississippi. So, you know, I'm here for the Southern drawl. But Chico is fine. Y'all, I'm sorry. I got off topic. But the reason why I brought them up is because I was watching their podcast and DC Young Fly mentioned that he was going to be in the show. And I was like, wait a minute, so it really is going to come back. You know how people will say something come back and then it's not going to come back. So I was shocked. And like I said, I found out on accident because he was the one who mentioned it. So I was like, okay, good. I love the show. So here we go. It came back on last night. I got my entire life and I went to sleep. But I'm kind of doing good because this is only the day after. So for me to be up on it, I'm doing pretty good. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so I have to do a disclaimer. To me, now this is my opinion, this show, for whatever reason, is so good to me that like every single scene, if not almost every single scene, is so amazing to me. And I feel like I need to discuss every single thing that happens for the most part. And that's why my videos end up being so long to me when it comes to this show. It's like, dang, I'm not trying to have the recaps and reviews and all that stuff to be the same length of the runtime of the show. But anyway, y'all, let me go ahead and get into it. So this episode started out with the Soul Train having an episode being recorded, and it was LaBelle. I don't know if y'all know what LaBelle is, but that is a group that has Patti LaBelle and two other women, at least at that time, at least what they showed on this episode. But they made a point to not really show the other people, and they focused on Patti LaBelle, who in this show is being played by Lettucey. I love Lettucey. Because I looked at her, I was like, is that Lettucey? But yeah, that was Lettucey. So they were literally in the middle of recording Lady Marmalade, or whatever they want to say. And they ended up cutting it, which cost money. Like, if you saw last season, you need to understand how big of a deal this is. And somebody about to get yelled at and cussed out, possibly, because they've had to stop filming. Y'all, anyway, they stopped filming, and Patti LaBelle's trying to figure out, you know, what is the problem. Man, the cameraman is tired of his spirit because the drummer for the group, he's doing everything but actually hitting the cowbell. Now, if you know that song, that's what you hear all throughout the song. Like, he ain't even attempting to hit the cowbell because they are recording it and everybody is like normally singing to a track. And I think that she said that they weren't singing to a track because they want to show that they really are real musicians and real singers and whatever. And y'all, anyway, they just stopped it. The person who has basically kind of turned into a multitasker of crazy proportions is Tessa Lorraine. Now, she was the woman who was like supposed to be over all things dancers and all that stuff last season. Well, whether y'all know it or not, Don Cornelius is going through a really awful health decline at this time. So he's either not there or he gets to work really, really late. And since he's the boss, he can kind of do what he want to do anyway, so it don't really matter. But yeah, he going all the way through at this point. So his migraines and all that stuff have gotten significantly worse. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. Y'all, so like I said, they done stopped recording. And Patti LaBelle want to know what is the problem. And then they try to explain what's going on. And Patti tried to go off. And Tessa is like, what you need to do is do what you signed up to say that you was going to do. And so Patti LaBelle was like, who you think you're talking to? And Tessa was like, I'm talking to the HBIC who signed a contract, who said that you were going to fake it. And like everybody was just like, ooh. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. Are we in high school, middle school, and even elementary? So I was like, ooh. I was like, oh my gosh. But anyway, they did what they was gonna do. And I mean, that was a gamble, but even Dawn's partner was like, yeah, she could have just walked off this set. And she was like, but she didn't though. So it is what it is. Tessa is like done. Tessa don't care, y'all. And then like that man brought up the fact that her husband left her. And so he was like, I mean, do you plan on ever having a man again? Because if you keep acting like this and basically turning into a man, especially a man who is like Don Cornelius, y'all, like I said, if you ain't never seen this show before and all that, if any of this is any indication to how he really was in real life, oh my gosh, too much. And that is definitely an insult. I would not want nobody to say I'm acting like a man, first of all, and acting like Don Cornelius. Oh yeah, that's adding insult to injury. So yeah. So anyway, she was like, well, who says I'm still into men anyway? So he about to choke on whatever he was drinking on when he heard her say that. Y'all, anyway. So, fun fact, just in case y'all never knew about this, I need to read this off to y'all verbatim. And I don't know French at all. That is something I wanted to take up in school. I never did it. But let me read this off to y'all. This is something that was always interesting to me when I did find it out. So, just in case y'all don't know, this is what it is. So the song Lady Marmalade, or however you say it, listen to this, y'all. Lady Marmalade is a song written by Bob Crewe and Kenny Nolan. The song is famous for its sexually suggestive French chorus of Voulez Vouquet. I got, whatever they say in that chorus or whatever. And it translates in English to, do you want to sleep with me tonight? The song first became a popular hit when it was recorded in 1974 by the American girl group LaBelle, which of course, Patti LaBelle and the other ladies. Those ladies, it's funny how they even came about. Y'all, it's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm really into music and like some of the background story of the people themselves and the groups and all that stuff. Y'all, LaBelle was formed after like two rival singing groups in, I think, Philadelphia, like disbanded, and like they initially kind of turned into Patti LaBelle and the Bluebirds, and then it was like, and the name kept evolving, and then eventually, before they themselves disbanded, they settled on LaBelle. So yeah, Patricia, Patti LaBelle, she had something. Apparently, because look where she is. Look at how people view her. But anyway, y'all, yeah, that song was very successful and it was all that. So just in case y'all didn't know about that, that is the backstory of that song. That is crazy. So anyway, Don Cornelius's health is declining, like I already told y'all. Y'all, this man is literally in his car on his way to work. He swerves off the road and almost hit this dude. The dude then got out the car and set it off. You could have killed me. I have a family. Then went all the way off. He's having migraines so bad that he really cannot see. He don't know what's going on. Luckily, he didn't kill nobody or himself at this point. So his way of trying to finesse himself out of a lawsuit or anything else, he has had this man to take him to work. And he had somebody to show this man around, like whatever he want to do, let him know. So this is his way of finessing his way out of paying legal fees or way too much money. And he probably paid that man a couple of dollars, but nothing like what he would have had to pay him had he taken him to court, because he did the most. you know how your headaches are. You already know how your migraines are at this point. They're to the point where he cannot function doing normal tasks. Like, it's getting severely worse. So anyway, y'all, this is his way of trying to get out of all of that. I'm tired. So anyway, Simone, she's a character that was in this show last year. She ended up going to New York to be in plays on Broadway and all this other stuff. So it appears that they are having her to be in this girl group or whatever. So she's in a recording studio with 2 other girls, and they're supposed to be singing this song. And this girl is like really off key or whatever, and like she's over it because Simone can sing it down like I live every time she sings anything. But anyway, they ended up breaking for the day or whatever, and like one of the dudes who was like significantly older than them, he came in there, and the girl who was singing off key, he ended up saying, she was like, "Are you ready to go?" And then he was like, "Yeah, let's leave," or whatever. They end up leaving, and he patting her on her booty the whole way out and all up on her. And Simone sees this, and she looking like, really, here we go. Here we go. So she's trying to get ahead the right way, and this girl is, I ain't even gonna say what I was gonna say. But anyway, y'all get it. She's sleeping her way up, up the ladder, up, as opposed to working her way up. Y'all, anyway, so she feels defeated, and she's just like, dang, no matter what I do, nothing pans out. So the engineer is in there, and he was like, look, the A&R exec is in this like booth or this other room, you know, and that kind of was her cue to be like, okay, let me go and wait for him, and you know, I can kind of introduce myself to get my own foot in the door. So she waited for this dude to come out. He ends up being this black A&R exec, and she sings "Who's Loving You," and he lived for it, or so he acted as if he lived for it. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Thank you I'm glad that you liked it." And then she was gonna try to play or at least give him her demo tape. He was like, no, you know how I go. This ain't how I go. You know, this is my card. You can call and have appointments set up, and then we'll go and, follow the rules as far as that's concerned. So she's still, happy that she's getting a chance to do something because nothing else is popping off for her. Cool. Y'all, Don is at the house, right? Going all the way through. His ex-wife pops up, and I'm just like, why this hell for that? So she starts going off on him, and he trying to figure out what she doing now. She done went off because apparently he's supposed to take their sons for the summer. He ain't been calling. He ain't been doing nothing as far as communication is concerned. So she going off about that, and she immediately notices that he is going all the way through with these migraines. She has been with him. She knows what it's about. They don't know exactly what it is that makes this happen, but she knows, what's going on with him, overall. And so, she's trying to comfort him and was like, what's going on with you? And it's really bad. And he over here trying to go to some meeting, party, or whatever it is that's Soul Train related. And she was just like, no, you ain't going nowhere. Like, if you try to even go anywhere, the smoke, the lights, and the talk and all that stuff, you won't even make it halfway through the night. So she basically banned him from going anywhere. And I think he did stay at the house. Y'all, JT, who is this guy who Simone was dating last year, he's like slightly older than her. Y'all, he had a whole lot going on. If y'all don't know who JC is and what his backstory is, even though I might end up telling y'all just a little bit because of a certain thing that's going to be said later on in this, y'all need to watch it. Watch the show. I'm telling you, the show is good. It will keep you captivated. At least me. It keeps me captivated because I like that type of music. I love the Soul Train and all that stuff. I look at old videos all the time of ones that happened long before I was born and all that. So anyway, y'all, JT, they show him present day. This episode, I think, is entitled like 1975. So 2 or 3 years after we, were done with last season or whatever is where it picked up. And JT appears to be a bouncer at this club, which is the Soul Train Club. And for him to not be, the typical bouncer as far as physiques are concerned, people, you associate a bouncer, this big old humongous dude for no reason and all that. Like, he's not the smallest, but he's not the biggest. But some dude came up and he was being rowdy and wanted to get inside. And he tried to reason with the dude. The dude wasn't trying to hear nothing he said. He done pulled out a switchblade knife, and he ended up disarming the old dude and went on about his business. So Gerald, who is a guy who we were introduced to last season, if you ever watched Greenleaf, he was the dude who played Basie Skanks. Y'all, that man is fine for no reason to me. He is fine for no reason. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm sorry. That man is fine though. He is fine. I'm sorry. But anyway, his name is Gerald on this show. But Gerald, Basie Skanks, or whatever his name is in real life, which I forgot. He fine. Y'all, so anyway, Gerald is outside and he's witnessing this whole ordeal go down. And he's very familiar with who he is. He actually, kind of works for him. JT works for him in a sense. And, he's talking to his associate Willie, and he was like, you don't understand. This kid's been through a lot. Y'all, they ended up doing a flashback showing JT getting stabbed, who I'm thinking he was getting stabbed because last season, some dude named, I think, Reggie or something, he went to school with him, or he knew him from the neighborhood or whatever, and he is just one of them people where he is not to be trifled with. It ain't good news. He does things to kind of cover up his activity, because he would do like great things in the community, like buy groceries for people, he'll take care of people, do all this stuff, but he was kind of making it seem like he was the Black Panther Party and all this other stuff. But meanwhile, last season, they did a whole heist type of situation that went south, and they ended up having him as the getaway driver. He didn't even know none of this stuff was gonna go down. Old boy was like, what you gonna do is this, or we're gonna have to kill you because you know too much. And like, it was just too much. So anyway, they felt like he was about to snitch on them, and then somebody ended up stabbing him, and they locked him in the trunk, and the police actually ended up surrounding the vehicle. They shot the person who stabbed him, and I guess they saw the whole ordeal go down, and they unlocked the trunk, and they saw him bleeding, and he had been stabbed, and somebody said that he was circling the drain. And I was like, oh my gosh, he almost died. Like, what in the world? Like, we didn't see any of this, because that's why they were doing flashbacks, because so much stuff happened in between when it went off, and then now with it coming back on 2 years after the fact. Y'all, so anyway, he came to in the hospital, and that's when we learned that he was told that you need to cooperate and let us know all about this organization and all this other stuff, or you're going to end up going down too. So you need to choose what you're going to do. We understand you hurt and all, but do what you got to do. So anyway, Gerald is entered the club, and now he's relaxing and he's enjoying his drinks when he sees this woman from his past. This woman has ties to the mob. Even though she's Black, she's one of those people where she can be like an easy Black Widow type of person, where you would least expect her to be one way, but she is very deadly, and don't let her looks deceive you. So anyway, he sees this woman, and he's looking like, I know that ain't who I think it is. So it is, as we find out later on, whatever. So anyway, Don Cornelius is now at a doctor's office because his wife was like, you need to go to a doctor. And he was just like, I done already seen all these doctors. Don't nobody know what's going on with me. All of them say the same thing. I'm tired of going to the doctor. But he ended up going anyway. This doctor told him, you need to go to the Mayo Clinic. And he was like, look, what we not finna do is this. Until one of y'all can come up off of information and tell me exactly what's wrong with me, I ain't going nowhere. So y'all can just hang that up. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And then he left out the room. Like, he ain't trying to hear nothing nobody got to say. So Kendall, who is Simone's brother, he was like really, really nerdy. But, in real life, to me, he was fine. And I saw a picture of him that they had up on like, for like the casting and all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe either the picture was too small, or he looked a little weathered, so to speak. I ain't here for it, but he was fine as I don't know what on this show. But anyway, they didn't show him, but they had him on the phone talking to his mama, who is being played by Kelly Price. So yeah, as you know, or you should know, Kelly Price is a singer. She was in a lot of the or at least a few of the Ronald Isley moments and all this other stuff. And the person who should remain nameless, Y'all already know. Lord, I can't. She done had so many songs where she was tied in her spirit. Like, that has been a lot of women's like go-to songs because it really resonated with them, y'all. Anyway, she was on the phone with Kendall. Kendall was supposed to be one of the dancers, and he could sing as well. So him and his sister, they were trying to do some music stuff on the side, outside of Soul Train, and they wanted her, and they didn't want him. And while all that was going on, one of the dancers, the other dancers, Flo, this heifer is just, or she was a hoe, and I don't know. Well, anyway, she ended up pregnant, and well, no, he had a baby. Did he have a, wait a minute, I think I'm getting the show mixed up, or he did. He had a baby with this other person. If it wasn't Flo, it was this other girl who was like Spanish speaking or something. I don't remember, y'all, because it was so random. I was just like, oh, he got a baby. But anyway, y'all, he's trying to get custody of his child. And as of right now, since the music thing didn't pop off for him, because they immediately saw her and heard her, and they were all the way here for her, even though she wanted JT, who was her boyfriend at the time, and her brother to come along with her, because he's an amazing, like, her brother is an amazing writer, like, for real. And I'm just like, bruh, you don't know that that's where the money's at. Forget the singing. The money is where it's at. Unless you're touring, that money, you get nothing. If you're the writer, you the one who got all the money. You the one who ain't got to worry about nothing. And like, writing is like breathing air to him. Like, it's so natural. But anyway, he was in his feelings, and he's still in his feelings, and they both are not really speaking. And it's to the point where, like I said, their mama was on the phone talking to him. He's on an oil rig, doing what he got to do, trying to make some money. And I guess continuing paying some child support or whatever. I don't know. And she tried to get them to talk on the phone, and she was just like, no. And then she was like, nah, here go your brother. And she handed her the phone, and he'd hung up in her face. So anyway, she, received that card from that A&R exec, and her mama tried to read her and was like, if you so great and you this and that, why are you back living at your mama house? Meaning me, why are you back living with me? And, her mama walked off from her. Actually, she is living out her dream now. She was supposed to sing and all this other stuff, and she put that on the back burner, and she wanted to be a loving wife and an amazing mother. And some stuff went down with her brother. Her brother had this club. Like, her brother did the absolute, her brother tried it. Y'all, I don't want to go into it. Y'all need to watch last season. Because if I could have reached through the screen, a whole lot of things could happen on my behalf to make me happy. But yeah, y'all. Anyway, she is living out her dream now, even though she's older. Her husband was killed right before he was supposed to come back home from his last deployment. This was, I think, supposed to be like his last time going out. And he literally was leaving, and he got killed before he got home. Like, it was ridiculous. But anyway, she's living out her dream now, and she sings as one of the regulars at the Soul Train Club. And I'm here for it. I'm like, okay, look at you living out your dreams now. That's amazing. So I'm just glad that she's not sitting at the house mourning her husband all the time, because that's what I really thought that this episode and this season was going to be about whenever they did show her. But luckily, that's not what we're getting. So I'm glad. I'm pretty sure they might have a couple of moments where she thinks about him, and, and that's natural. So I expect nothing less as far as that is concerned. But we going to see. So anyway, Dawn is back at the house. And he acting like he want that old thing back with his wife. I ain't here for it. Like, I'm just like, girl, you were adamant about not being with him no more because you knew he was a womanizer and he was trash. Yeah, you got kids, girl. Get that money for the child support and go on about your business and the alimony and whatever else. Do that until them kids become grown and go on about your business. I didn't understand. So I was like, okay, this ain't right. What is it? I don't know what's going on. So they doing the most. And this heifer really is doing the most. This heifer looked into all kinds of remedies as far as what can help with his, migraines. And I'm just like, what is going on here? I don't trust you, heifer. So anyway, Gerald was paid a visit by this woman named Ruby, who I told y'all before is this woman named Ruby, and she has ties to the mob in some way, and she was sent there to deliver a message to him because they want out, because they have stake in the things that he has stake in, and he has dealings with Soul Train. And a lot of these people who are major players are definitely not black, and they don't want nothing to do with it. You know, that's just what it is. Do what you do. I don't understand why they're not seeing how lucrative Soul Train and all of its entities are, but they don't want nothing to do with none of it, and they want everything to be pulled out. So he was just like, look, man, I ain't into all that no more. I'm trying to live everything the way I'm supposed to live. I'm trying to have a clean slate, a clean start. I'm not doing nothing dirty, cool, whatever. So this heifer, meaning Don Cornelius' wife, is really trying to act like she here for him, and I know she ain't. And I don't know what it is at this point, but I'm just like, what is going on? So anyway, she is driving his sports car into work, and everybody is looking like, oh, what's going on here? Because they met her before or whatever, but we all know they divorced. So it's like, what is going on here? So they go on the set, and Tessa is, you know, kind of conflicted, but she kind of happy to see him. So she's here for it. Like, if she gonna keep him in line, because he's very unruly. Don't nobody have time. I understand that's your show, that's your baby, but you do the most, sir. So even the partner is like, okay, are they together now? Like, what is going on? And like a random heifer walked by, like directly in the middle of all four of them, because it was Don, his wife, his partner, and Tessa. They were all standing there talking, and this heifer walked straight by and speak to nobody except Don. I was like, oh, this is a hoe. Okay, then this is what we do. This is what we do. And the wife tried to act as though she was unfazed. That's why everybody was like, okay, are they together? Because she's acting like she's unbothered by this, because anything else, like back in the day, she would have been done. Like, girl, what is you doing? I was so tired. So anyway, but like I was saying, in the background, they was playing that I Love Music. It's one of those OJ songs, if I'm not mistaken. And then they went to the next scene where they showed Simone meeting up with the record exec. And why did I know that it was going to go left? He was looking at her up and down, was looking at her body. You know, this is the 70s. You knew what they was wearing. And her body is everything, and she's gorgeous anyway. So he tried to make a move on her. She's been taking these self-defense courses, and they panned out very well for her. She ended up having to use these moves on this man. Like, she broke this man's nose and some more, which is what we gonna find out on the next episode. But yeah, she did it in. She did him in, and I was here for it. But yeah, he really tried her. Like, he gonna try to say to her, you know how this goes. I was like, oh my gosh, I got so triggered. I said, I can't wait till this scene is over. I'm tired. So anyway, Gerald now knows, well, I can't get in how I want to get in, so I'm going to have to get in where I fit in. In order for me to please these mob people, I got to get my hands dirty just a little bit, so I got to do things a certain way, in a way where Don will not be able to see what's going on, because Don don't want to do nothing dirty no more and all this other stuff. So he's walking and talking to his associate, which is this man named Willie. They end up going into this room, the woman Ruby in there, and little does he know that he's about to be in for a rude awakening. So after Ruby made her first visit to him, he was like, well, let me call up the mob boss himself, the person who done got out, and want to know, you know, what can go on as far as my options are concerned. He just sat up here, had a whole meeting with this man, and he told him what he gonna have to do in order to be all the way out the game, because you're gonna have to come up off some money to get up out the game. More money than what you think that you're gonna have to come up off of. So when this situation happened, she found out about it somehow. She done rolled up. And as soon as they opened the door, she had this chopstick type situation that she had taken out of her hair, and she stabbed the associate Willie, I guess in his heart, because he died pretty quickly. And she read Gerald and was like, what you're not finna do is go behind my back. Don't go behind my back no more. If I ever hear about you going behind my back again, it's gonna be a problem. I was like, oh my gosh, no. So anyway, Don's ex-wife set it off. This heifer is up to no good, just like I thought. And it's to the point where even his partner was like, look, man, I called around. Your wife and your ex-wife ain't up to no good. Because he was in there talking talking to him. Like, Don is the type of person who he don't care nothing about what you got going on. So he was like, hey, how you doing? How your day been going? He looking at him like, you know, ever since the first day I met you, you never asked me anything outside of work. So then that helped him to go ahead and have a nice little segue into being like, so yeah, I called around to see what was going on. And word is your wife came into town and she's been shopping lawyers. And she went to one of the biggest divorce attorneys in this state and was asking around about you. You need to check your assets. You need to protect your assets because this heifer might be coming for Soul Train. So he over here like, nah, Red would never do that. She would never do that to me. His wife's name is Delores, but I think he calls her Red. I forgot why. But anyway, but yeah, he was like, she would never do that. And then they got him to thinking. He was like, man, I'm trying to tell you, you know, this is your biggest and best paying asset. So don't sleep on it. This heifer might be trying to take it right from up under you, y'all. So anyway, TJ is at work and everybody at the club is like gathered at Gerald's door. And he looking like, okay, what y'all got going on right here? And they were like, yeah, so in order for us to open up, we need the alcohol. And the alcohol is in this closet and he got the key. So yeah. And so he was like, man, I get the key. Everybody get back to work. So he, you know, tried to get Gerald to open the door. And at first, I guess he didn't realize that it was him. So he was like, it's me, man. So then he opened up the door. Old boy Willie is still on the ground, dead. And he looking like, what happened? He tried to figure out what's going on. Of course, he didn't tell him no specifics, but he was like, look, do you know his ins and outs and his movements and how he get down? So he ended up giving him his keys and he was like, you know, go to the front of the house. You know how he moved and how he was doing things from day to day. Do what he would do or whatever. And he took his keys and I guess he's going to move his car and make it seem like he left on his own fruition or whatever. Y'all probably just messed that word completely up because I'm doing the most. I know I did it wrong, I think, but it don't matter. So y'all know what I'm saying. But it's just a lot. And like he's in his feelings because he even was like, man, you know, Willie has always been good to me. And he was like, yeah, he was a really good friend and all this other stuff. He been by my side for the longest. I'm gonna take care of his body. You ain't gotta worry about that. So he was like, cool. Y'all, Simone is at the club. Like I told y'all, her mama, who is being played by Kelly Price, is there and she's doing one of her sets. And I forgot what song she was singing. The way she was singing certain parts of it, I was just like, I ain't here for it. She could sing now. I just wasn't here for her singing that song in its entirety. But anyway, JT sees them from across the room and they kind of looked at each other. So I was like, okay, what does this look for? Why are they looking like that? They ended up doing another flashback of when she first came back to town. So she was at the movies outside trying to debate with some of her friends, you know, as far as what they were going to watch. He comes out because he's already seen the movie. Whatever movie he was going to watch was some girl that he went out on a date with. And so they locked eyes and she was kind of looking like, what's going on here? And he kind of went on by his business. And so she told her friends, hold on for a second. I said, oh Lord, what's she finna do? So she went over there and, you know, tried to kind of talk to him. Was like, well, I'm sorry I didn't talk to you or call you when I first got back in town. And so the girl was looking like, well, who is this though? So it's just bad. Like he played it off, was like, oh, she's just someone that I knew from back in the day. It was good seeing you. Tell your mama I said, hey. I was like, oh no, you played her to the left. So anyway, they came back to present day and she was like, look, I'm sorry that I never came to see you when you were in the hospital. So right after everything happened and she ended up moving to New York and all of that, he had gotten stabbed and she could not leave. She was a part of this company. And when you're a part of a certain dance company or whatever, or forgot, you know, whatever it is that Debbie Allen and all them other people do sometimes, not necessarily dance, but when you're acting and all this other stuff. She was a part of a company up there. And she was like, I couldn't leave or whatever. And, you know, I'm sorry. And he was like, you know, that's water under the bridge. You good or whatever. And he kind of was just on some, you know, it is what it is and not all uptight about her. And he had to let her know, like, I could not leave. I had to take care of my sister Now, for those of y'all who don't watch this show or have not seen this show, his sister was very young. I think this child had to have been under the age of 10. And he was like high school, teen, like 18 years old or whatever. They mama on drugs really, really bad. Like one day he came in and the heifer was having sex trying to buy herself a couple of more days of rent. And she did all that. She done busted wide open, told them to bring it back. And they still got kicked out because JT came in there and set it all the way off on the front, the left, the side, and the other side. And the back. He was just tired in his spirit. So he was like, what you not finna do is this. What you think you doing to my mama? I was like, Lord. So their mama a drug addict and she just do anything. And he basically is the caregiver for his sister and their living situation has been terrible. Y'all, I'm sorry this video has been so long, but the most be going on. So yeah, he ended up securing a ride for her to go home because he said that she was drunk or she was at least tipsy. So anyway, Don ended up going home and catching his wife going through some stuff. He ended up calling her out on it, was like, what you doing? Going through my stuff. And ended up going all the way off on her. And she was like, yeah, you're right. I deserve this. And if I want it, I should be able to take it. So I was like, well, dang, we just gonna just say what it is. Y'all, he drug her through the house and threw her out the door. It was just the way he did it. I'm not laughing at the situation. It was just like, dang. And she had to walk. It got to the point where, I don't know how long he waited, but he ended up going after her in his car, telling her to wait up and slow down and get in the car. And she went off and she kind of tried to make it seem like, I'm not after your money. You need to be happy that I didn't go with the lawyer who you thought I was going to go with because he is a shark and he's so much like you. He wanted me to take you to the cleaners. Like for real, he was gonna have you get cleaned all the way out. If I had gone along with what he was talking about, he was gonna tarnish your name, drag your name through the mud, and I was gonna get everything that I could have possibly wanted and desired in my life. So she was just like, no, it ain't what it is, but what you need to know is we not gonna never go down this road no more. And he was like, well, we can work on things. And she was like, no, it is what it is. We ain't gonna be together. You need to get in this car and take me to a hotel room. He was like, oh, you can stay at the house. She was like, no, you need to take me to a hotel room because I'm leaving in the morning. And she was tired of her spirit. So then they end up showing the last scene, which was Gerald driving his friend's body somewhere to be dumped off. And that's how it ended, y'all. I really love this show. I'm sorry that I took so long to get through, but like I said, y'all don't understand every single scene. So much happens and it makes me so happy. I love stuff like this. I don't have anybody a lot of my friends don't watch every single thing that I watch. So that's why I really started making videos like this. Because I like to discuss stuff like this and I want to talk to other people who watch the same stuff I watch. So y'all comment down below and let me know if you watch this show, if you plan on watching this show. I know I love this show and I'm glad it's back. So I have more things to add to what I'm doing. But anyway, y'all have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.